There we go. Hello. Sort of online, I think. I'm gonna have to mess with my favorite part. Trying to get the camera adjusted. Pardon me while there's a bunch of there we go. Cool. Alright. Time for some more messing around in dreams. And I think what I'm going to do, I was supposed to build one, and I was supposed to build one, or I'm sorry, not build one, I was supposed to work on one of the basic ones, and I was supposed to play somebody else's, and then that kind of got derailed, and took a little bit longer than I thought last time, so we're going to try again. And yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. First thing, I think I want to get started with, where do I want to get started? Let's talk to my master imp here. I'm gonna see if I can, let's start some of the logic, maybe? Let's see what dreaming big is. Start dreaming. Let's learn a little bit more about this one. I think this way we may start with one of these. Let's see. Start dreaming, learning logic. Okay. Alright, so let's start with, let's do start dreaming here. I think we've done these already. Alright, so we're not going to do that one. I feel like they're... How can you tell if they're completed? Oh, they've got the... Alright, so I have not completed those. That's weird, though, because I know I... Alright, let's see. Dreaming big. Let's see what dreaming big start... Oops. Gosh, there's so many cool things in here. It's like just, oh. These are all videos. Don't want the VR tutorial. Let's go back here. Complete 4 start dreaming tutorials. Okay. That's part 1 of 4. Can I see part 2 of 4? What's part 2 of 4 here? I think we've done that already. I feel like we had to do that. Oh, this is, these are part of the imp quests, I thought. Alright, let's check out, oh, what? I said logic. Alright, oops. Let's do... logic. Let's check out wiring and logic, the basics of logic. So I think, sorry that took a long time. It's just, there's so much cool stuff. It's just easy to get, it's been 4 minutes. It's so easy to just get lost. I'm like, oh my god, where do I want to start? And I really should just pick something. So I talked about wanting to do logic, and one of the basic levels, you know, you're supposed to, one of your imp quests is to take one of the basic levels and do something with it and then release your own version. So I wanted to add some custom logic, so I decided I'm going to watch one of these, I'll go through one of these tutorials, and then, you know, maybe we'll start adding some custom logic to that. So let's get started.
In this tutorial, you're gonna learn all about the exciting world of logic. Pay no attention to Cuthbert. It's not as complicated as it sounds, I promise. Let's check out the scene. See the buttons on the platforms in front of our good friend Connie?
I do.
They activate the bridges that will take her to the next platform. At least that's what they're supposed to do. To get them working, you'll need to connect them to the gadgets that control them. You can't see gadgets when you're in play mode, but they let you do all sorts of useful things in edit mode. You can tell gadgets apart by their color and icons. Green gadgets are sensors and inputs.
Like this one?
This one is what we call a trigger zone. It's one of the more versatile gadgets. It can trigger other gadgets when it detects something in the scene. Like in this case, Connie standing on the button. Hi, Connie.
Hi, Connie.
If you select the gadget with X, you'll be able to see its detection zone.
Well, let's do that.
That's it, right there above the button. Press the circle button to deselect the trigger zone, and let's look at the next gadget. Pink gadgets are movers and outputs, meaning they make things happen in the scene. This particular gadget is a rotator, and it's connected to the first bridge. Click R3 to start time, and let's see what it does. Well, not a lot right now by the looks of it. That's because the rotator is switched off. You can tell because the gadget is dim at the moment. But if we connect these two gadgets together, we can turn the rotator on using the trigger zone.
Okay.
In the next step, I'll show you how.
Cool. Alright, let's recenter our imp. Oh, there's just so many things that I like about dreams, and I've mentioned this many times before, but like you can tell they put a lot of thought and iteration into like building these things and just making little niceties that I just am in love with. And one of them I'll just point it out right now is when you mouse over the rotator, you can see this wire that comes out that connects it to this platform right here. And then when I say mouse, sorry, I'm coming from computers, and then you imp off, shall we say, and then you can see the wire just, gracefully kind of recede back into this nice, smooth animation, and it's really cool. And it's, not only is it pleasant to look at, but it's also, this very clear visual indication of like what this thing is connected to, and this clear indication that you are now not, connected to this thing. Your focus is elsewhere, and so these little things, like as, I like to think about as when I design games or teaching logic or things like that, just like these little hints and icons that just give you some context and perspective about the thing that you're doing. Like when you imp over one of these things, and the little title comes up, and it just kind of gracefully fades in and fades out. Actually, it just clips out. It doesn't fade out. But yeah. Anyway, I love these kind of little things, and the fact that you've got both like the scene that I can interact in here, and I can just start. I can select. I can go ahead and delete this if I really wanted to. But I've also got this video in its own little window that I can move around and place in somewhere that's more convenient, and just like it. Everything about this game feels like they've put... Hi, Mona. Our dog decided to drop into the stream, say hi. Can't quite see her, but she's right next to my chair, wagging her tail and wondering why I'm talking to myself, or whoever happens to drop in. Yeah, everything feels like it was put together with so much thought and so much love. And that's actually one of the reasons I play this game is like I don't know if I have any. I mean, you know, deep in my head, I have these like delusions of grandeur of building something, you know, huge and awesome. But really, like I think a good chunk of it is just like I come to just experience this like calm appreciation for a well-built tool and just kind of, you know, play and enjoy. And it's been a long time since I've enjoyed creation this much. And I'm sorry if it's been a little bit of time for if you're one of the like 6 people who has ever stopped by and watched my videos. And maybe that'll grow, maybe it won't. I've been doing a little. I've been doing some development in Unity on my on another game that I'm working on. So you know, this is my little break. Didn't sleep well last night, so yeah. It may be logic may not go great today, but let's continue. Sorry.
Before we start connecting things, make sure you can see both gadgets.
Yes, I can.
You'll notice they have ports sticking out of their sides. Ports on the left are inputs, and the ones on the right are outputs. Hover over the output port on the trigger zone now. You'll see the word detected appear. That means that when the trigger zone detects something, this output will send a signal. Before it can send that signal to the rotator though, we'll need to connect them with a wire. So hover over the detected output and press R2 or X. You'll notice your imp is now tethered to the port by a wire. Power ports have appeared on the gadgets too. It's these ports that switch gadgets on or off. Okay, drag the wire over to the rotator gadget. Now hover over the power port at the bottom, then press R2 or X. Once the gadgets are connected, the wire will disappear automatically. That way, your scene won't get cluttered. After all, you don't want wires all over the place. You can see the wire again by hovering over either gadget. Okay, time to test our connection out. So let's switch over to play mode in the options menu. That's more like it. Now the trigger zone detects Connie when she stands on the button and activates the rotator on the bridge. As soon as she steps off, the rotator stops working. You can use the button to get the bridge lined up with the platform. Once Connie can make it to the second platform, you can head back to edit mode and move on to the next step.
Oh, that was not what I meant to do. All right. Alright, we're gonna head to play mode and let's possess our imp here and let's give it a shot. Look at that, it works. Alright, move over to the next thing. Cool. Alright. I'm gonna go back to edit mode here and I'm gonna take a look at tweak selected. Alright, and now we're just gonna take a look at I'm sure they're gonna walk us through this, but I just wanted to play around with it. You could probably do it on this side too. I wanted to take a look at the how to set options, because these things are always fun to do. And I'm sure it'll walk important properties, zone size, labels. Ugh. Just everything feel like this. Oh my god, yeah, just everything feels like it was, like this was not this was built in such a way that, hang on just a tick. Oh, that's what that is. Sorry, dog's doing something funny. Everything just feels like it was built like this isn't a joke, and that's not the right word to use, but I mean, like, this isn't a lightweight tool. It may not be a tool that you can currently, release your whatever project onto, every platform known to man, or every platform known to humanity, I should say. But it's a serious tool. Like, it's a serious creation tool, and that always impresses me. Is like it's one of those things that it looks, it's very it's friendly, but like it's also powerful, and I respect that. Okay, let's move on to our next step here.
Now that we've connected the rotator, let's take a look at the second platform.
See the yellow gadget on its side?
I do.
This gadget isn't a sensor or an output. It's called a microchip. Microchips are used to organize logic in scenes. You can think of them as boxes of gadgets and wires. Let's have a look inside. Hover over this one with your imp. Hold L1 and press X. It's just like scoping into a group of objects. This window is the microchip's canvas. And if these gadgets look familiar, it's because they're two rotators. Each one controls half of this jointed drawbridge. Try to connect the output from the trigger zone to the power ports on the rotators. You can create multiple wires from the same output. Or you can clone wires in the scene by holding L1, then grabbing them with R2. Clone the wire near the rotator to create a new wire from the trigger zone. Once you've connected the trigger zone to the second rotator, switch over to play mode and make sure it's all working. Okay, jumping on the button now will activate the trigger zone and raise the drawbridge so that you can cross over the... Oh, wait a minute. The bridge has dropped down before Connie could cross. That's because the signal to the rotator stopped sending as soon as Connie stepped off the trigger zone. Switch back to edit mode and rewind time with L3. In the next step, I'll show you how to make signals stay on.
Alright. Let's see, how do we delete wires if I wanted to... Ah, okay. It said I can clone the wire. Let's do L1 and R2. Oops, that didn't work. Rotation speed, cool. Affected object. Alright, I'm going to cancel it. Actually, I want to see what...
Wait a minute. The bridge has dropped down. Jumping on the button now, then grabbing them with R2. Clone the wire near the rotator to create a new wire from the trigger zone. Once you've connected the trigger zone to the second rotator, switch over to play mode.
Okay, so maybe if I clone it near the... Oops. Oh, I can create a node. That's interesting. There's my wire, but it's cloning from that side, and I don't know why that is. Oh, I don't want that selected. Alright. Yeah, see, it keeps cloning from that one, which is weird. It's okay, we'll just do... There we go. Oops. Hit the X button. There we go. Connected it. And then we'll just go ahead and close this. So microchips. Microchips seem to kind of work like, well, functions in a way. They are a way of encapsulating things, looks like. If I can How did I open that again? Oh, L1 and X. And then inside this, inside this microchip, I wonder if you can label the microchip. What's this? Pin to screen, and close, you can anchor it. I wonder if you can change the name of the microchip. You can, of course you can, because this was built by people that are awesome. Let's just hit R3 here and close this. So yeah, and inside this block of code, you've got, if this, then this and this. That's cool. So I feel like they kind of work like functions. Awesome. We'll just go ahead and close that, and let's go back to play mode. Let's give this a little test. And possess my character here. And it works. Look at that. Alright. Ah, no! It doesn't work. Okay, just like they said. Excellent. Alright, so let's go on to our next step here.
If we want the bridge to stay up, we'll need to add a gadget between the trigger zone and the rotator to keep it activated. We can do this with a counter. So let's go into the assembly menu. Press square to open it if it's closed. Select the gadgets menu with X.
Okay.
You'll find the counter in the logic and processing section. The gadgets in this menu take an input signal and change it in some way before sending it on. Go ahead and select the counter. Its icon is a tally counter. Now you can see the gadget on your imp. Hover over the microchip and it will snap to the canvas.
Whoops.
Press R2 or X to stamp the counter onto the microchip. Then press circle to unequip it. The counter gadget counts up or down whenever it receives to stamp the counter onto your imp.
Let's try that.
Go ahead and select the counter. Its icon is a tally counter.
Alright, so let's go back to open that. We're going to select the counter. And let's go ahead and start playing this again.
Now you can see the gadget on your imp. Hover over the microchip and it will snap to the canvas.
Hover over the microchip.
Press R2 or X to stamp the counter onto the microchip. Then press circle to unequip it. The counter gadget counts up or down whenever it receives a signal through its inputs. By default, it starts its count at 0 and has a target of 1. Once it reaches that target, it sends a constant signal through its counter-full output port. Before we connect it though, let's tidy up the wires connecting the trigger zone to the rotators. Just hover over them and press triangle to delete them. Now press R2 or X over the detected output of the trigger zone to create a new wire.
Okay.
Connect it to the increase count input port on the counter. That's the port with the plus sign icon. Now when the trigger zone is activated, the counter will go up to 1. And, this is the important part, it will stay at 1 even after the trigger zone deactivates.
Nice.
Now hover over the counter-full output port of the counter. This port sends a signal when the counter reaches its target.
Search D. Low. Okay. D low S go. Go inside Dream Surfing. Well, sure, I definitely will. I wonder what kind of game it is. Oh, wait, they're not there anymore. Oh, well, I will definitely do that. That would be cool. Love to find new dreams. That would be awesome. Alright.
Create a wire with R2 or X and connect it to one of the rotator's power ports.
Okay.
Then do the same for the other one.
Alright. Done.
Time to switch to play mode and try out our new connections. When you're happy everything's working as it should, return to edit mode and move on to the next step.
Cool. Alright, let's go back to edit mode here. And I'm going to just take a look at that one more time. That's really cool. Oops. Let's open it. And we've got the, so when trigger, x plus plus or whatever, increase variable. We can reset the counter. I can decrease the, very cool. Awesome. What does this do? Oh, I can increase the size of the window. Okay. Alright, I'll go ahead and close that. And we'll go to, okay, we're back in edit mode. Let's go to the next step here.
Just one more bridge for Connie to cross. As you can see, we have another microchip on the platform. So let's open it up.
Alright.
Hover over it with your imp, hold L1 and press X. Okay, looks like we have everything we need here. But Connie's an adventurer, so how about we make this last bridge more challenging? Adding a timer to the logic should get the adrenaline going. Once Connie activates the button, she'll only have a few seconds to cross before the bridge drops back down. Let's head back to the assembly menu. If it isn't already open, press square. Then go into the gadgets section. You'll find the timer in the same place as the counter, the logic and processing section. Its button has a clock face on it. Now go ahead and stamp the timer gadget onto the microchip with R2 or X. Then unequip it from your imp with the circle button.
Okay.
Now let's take a closer look at the timer's inputs and outputs. You can see their names by hovering over the ports. The first input is a start timer port. Once this receives a signal, it will start the clock. The second one is reset timer, which sets the time back to 0. Over on the output side, we have timer finished and timer output. Timer finished sends a signal when the timer reaches the required number. It's set to 5 seconds by default. Timer output is a little more sophisticated. The signal it sends represents the timer's current progress.
Right.
If, let's say, it's only halfway to its target, the signal it sends will be half strength. So how do we connect this so the bridge only stays up for a few seconds? Well, we need the bridge to be raised while the timer is running. So create a wire on the timer output with R2 or X. Remember how we used the counter on the previous platform? We can use one here too. Just like before, connect the wire to the counter's increase count input. Then connect the counter full output to the rotator's power port. Time to see if it works. Click R3 to test it out. As you can see, since the timer isn't connected to a trigger yet, the clock starts ticking as soon as we play the scene. The bridge goes up, but doesn't drop down when the timer finishes. That can only mean one thing. There's a problem with the logic. If you'd like to figure it out for yourself, feel free to check the gadgets and see what's wrong. Or move on to the next step and we'll go through it together.
Alright. Oh, I was like, how do I stop it? Okay. Oh, I need to change my orientation here. Get a little there we go. Okay. So the first thing I want to figure out is how do I move? I just want to move just the timer's object, not the whole microchip window. I just want to move the timer's object. That's what I don't know how to do. Let's see. There we go. Okay, it was the, got it. All right, now. Okay, so we know how to make it so that when there is a trigger, that is when we start the timer, right? I think there's a way to... Alright, I'm gonna get out of that section. It's glass. Okay, now if I recall, there's a way to see, there's some way to, that's what I wanted to see. Go over here to the tweak selected here. And we've got current time and we've got target time. Alright, so current time is currently still set to 5 seconds. What would be nice, let's see, what are my options here? Count up, speed, positional, count down. We've got start timer, timer finished, reset timer, timer output, timer finished. Okay, let's see, what does this do? Input a signal. Where's the power? Okay. So it's like the detailed version, I guess, of the... no, that's not what I wanted to do at all. Okay. I'm going to move this guy over a little bit here. And let's see, what's this? I think this is just... okay. Let's see, what are my options with this wire? How do I say if not detected? So let's take a look at... let's deselect that object. We'll take a look at this object, and let's see. Detection, what's this? Number required, Move this over a little bit. Make wire, okay, I'm gonna go, and I got things to detect. So what if I triggers? What do I say? When not detected. Let's go. I'm gonna try something. Or there's inverts a signal, giving you the condition if this thing is true, make it false, and vice versa. So I'm going to grab one of these, and I'm going to try something here. I'm going to add it onto here, and we're going to say connect this wire, and this should say not output. Okay, move this whole thing. We're going to connect this to here. How about that? And we'll try that. I'll get that started. So in theory, right now I should say trigger. If something is on the trigger, then we start the timer. Otherwise, if something is not on the trigger, we reset the timer. Alright, cool. Now that's looking good. Let's close this for a second. We're going to go back into play mode. I wish I could see. And I wish you could see the timer. Alright, let's jump back to edit mode here. And I want to look at this thing. We'll open it up. Alright, so as we can see, the timer is now doing a thing because I'm standing on it. It is now counting to... we've got it if you were standing on the trigger. If you're not standing on the trigger, then we reset the timer. And then what else? Okay, so let's think. So what we want to do is, after the counter, we want it to count up to 5. And then if the counter is at 5, we want the bridge to fall, right? So this is my rotator, and this is my counter. And when this counter, I'm sorry, this is my timer. When timer goes to 5, we increase count by 1. And when counter is 1, we open this up. What are my other options here? So this is timer output. Say increase count. 1. Now, what do we really want to happen? We want... bum, 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 bum. Want timer one. What are we doing right now? We are doing timer 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How about we say when timer oh shoot, that's right, I have to remember. Oh, this is what happens when I'm tired and I talk to myself. Okay. So, starting the timer. We're going to count to counts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And how do we say when timer is full? Okay, if you're not on the timer, I'm sorry, if you're not on the platform, then we reset the timer, which is fine. Reset count. Delete this one for a second. I want to see something. I'm going to go back to play mode for a second. I want to get Connie off of this thing. Timer is reset. If not staying, what else do I want to do? I think I also want to reset the counter if timer is, if you are not standing on the thing. I want to reset the count, I believe. There we go. So now we've got it. If you are not standing on it, then we are going to reset the timer and reset count. Alright, so let's just run through that, make sure that works. I'm not standing on it, everything is fine. Oops, let's possess my character here. I stand on it. Alright, timer's counting. Not exactly what we want. Okay. What the heck? How did I do that? That's so weird. Okay, let's get out of here. And back to wiring and logic here. Okay, so when you're standing on it, we are... Oh, I keep messing up this. Yeah, there we go. When you are standing on it, we're going to start the timer. I think I'm actually doing it backwards. I would actually like to do it the other way around. I would like to do it so that when you stand on it, the timer. See, for me, it makes more sense to do it the other way. So we're going to. The timer starts at 0. You stand on it. What do I want to do? When time is up is when I want it to go away. Let's see what the timer is. Can I see what the value of the timer is? Ah, no. Go away button. I am. Ooh. Oh, you brought me cat food. Okay.
That was unsettling. Where's the other one?
Is there another one? Oh, I know where he is. He's probably in the couch. It's so weird, but he's like in the... I don't understand.
Sorry, Mr. Bean.
Yeah, he's in that weird spot.
Sorry that the dogs are so mean to you.
I'll move this out of the way. Ah, no! Okay, go to tweak select it. Oh, cool. Alright, so this is the target time, and we stood on it for 4 seconds. Cool. And what I really want is when it gets to 5 is when I, yeah. Okay, let's just see what they did.
So let's take a look at why the bridge stayed up after the timer finished instead of going back down. Remember how we used the counter earlier to remember the signal from the trigger zone? Well, now it's remembering the signal from the timer, so we need to make it forget that once the timer finishes. Let's go over to the counter gadget. Hover over the inputs to see their names. This one here is reset count. It'll put the counter back to 0, which will turn off the rotator. So all we need to do is connect it to the timer, but to which output? Aha, there we go. We can use the timer finished output. Hover over it and create a wire with R2 or X.
Okay.
Then stretch the wire over to the counter and connect it to the reset count input. But we also need to reset the timer, otherwise the logic will only work once. So let's get another wire from the timer finished output and connect this one to the reset timer input. You'll recognize it by the rewind symbol on it. All we have left to do is to connect the trigger zone to the start timer port so Connie can activate it. Okay,
Cool.
That was a lot of connections. So before we test it out, let's go over the logic we've made. First, Connie activates the trigger zone, which sends a signal to start the timer. Once the clock starts running, the timer output becomes active. This tells the counter to count up. That then turns on the rotator and raises the bridge. Now this is where the really clever stuff kicks in. After 5 seconds, the timer finishes its count, the finished output. This in turn resets the counter to 0, cutting the signal to the rotators and lowering the bridge. And let's not forget, it also resets the timer, so the logic could be triggered again if Connie didn't cross the bridge the...
Hold on. Oh, just... no. Oh my gosh. Okay.
First time. Isn't logic exhilarating? Take your time digesting all that. Logic is easier to read if you route your wires neatly. Grab wires with X to change their paths. You can also move the gadgets around by grabbing them with R2. Feel free to test it out in play mode, but don't leave the scene just yet. I have one more thing to show you.
So maybe I don't need this fancy. Alright, let's just let's go to play mode here. Gotta get rid of my... Turns out this one, if not, reset timer. And then this also resets the timer. So we're just gonna get rid of this. We tried. Alright, let's see how it works without it. We'll go back to play mode here. As long as you're standing on it, it keeps doing it. Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5. Got it. Okay. Cool. Alright.
So, on the third platform, we've set up a timer that makes the bridge drop after 5 seconds. But I think that might be too easy for a seasoned pro like Connie. Let's make it a little bit more challenging. First, if you're in play mode, switch back to edit mode and rewind time with L3. Let's move in closer to the microchip with the timer. You can use the grab cam, R1, to move your view. Now I'll show you how to tweak a gadget's settings. Hover over the timer gadget, hold L1 and press square. This tweak menu contains the settings for the timer. Hover over the sliders and buttons to see their names.
Actually, I want to
The
see
top
that again.
slider set timer.
Wait, hold on. Hold on.
Hover over the timer gadget, hold L1 and press square. This tweak menu contains the settings for the timer. Hover over the sliders and buttons to see their names. The top slider sets the target time for the timer. If we lower this setting, the bridge will stay up for a shorter time. To adjust the value, hover your imp over the slider, then hold X. Use your imp to drag the slider left or right. Set it to around 3 seconds. It doesn't have to be exact. If you're a stickler for precision, you can adjust the slider incrementally using the up and down directional buttons. Just hover your imp over the slider and press up or down to tweak the value. In fact, why don't we make things really interesting for Connie? Let's set it to 2.5 seconds. You can close the tweak menu now by selecting the cross in the top corner with X. Or you could use a shortcut. Just hold L1, then press circle while hovering over the menu to close it quickly. The same shortcut works for closing microchips. Give it a try now. Hold L1, then hover your imp over the microchip and press circle. Time to test out the scene in play mode. If you have any problems crossing that last bridge, you can always tweak the timer again in edit mode. Remember, you just hover over the gadget, hold L1 and press square to open its tweak menu. When you're all set, take Connie to the last platform and walk through the door to complete this tutorial.
Ah, no! Dead. Ah! Alright, let's get in there. Yay! Alright, we finished our first one. Very cool. That's a good sign. Now, I wonder, it says I'd saved that, so I'd like to go back and, I wonder if I can go back and look at what I've done. Let's go to continued.
On the third platform, we've set up a timer that makes the bridge drop after 5 seconds. But I think that might be too easy for a seasoned pro like Connie.
Right. I actually just like, let's skip to the end of the tutorial here. We'll mouse off of that. And I just want to take one more look at blah, blah, blah. Oh, food. Oh, thank you so much. Well, I guess dinner is ready, so maybe this was a great place to go ahead and stop. Kind of embarrassed that, embarrassed is not the right word, that my logic didn't work the first time. But hello and welcome to Programming in a Nutshell, even with simple stuff, especially when I think I got like 3 hours of sleep last night because I don't know why. So, yeah, we'll just blame that as the reason that my logic didn't work and not because I'm just not really good at logic. But this is Programming in a Nutshell, and it will happen all the time. Little things will throw you and just be like, how did I not get that? And it's okay, that happens. All right. So before I had in here, I had a trigger. I had a not condition that I was using to, if you were not standing on this, it was going to reset the thing. And it turned out that was not the way they were going to use, was not the way they were going to do it. Their way is actually much simpler, so I'm glad that I finally just decided to see how they did it. So anyway, I think that is a good place to stop, so we'll go ahead and we'll continue with some more basic little tutorials and kind of get a feel for how Dream sets up its logic. All right, guys, have a good one. And let's get out of this, I'm going to exit this creation. It's going to save my progress. And hopefully we'll remember to check out Danny88 Games, and we'll take a look at, actually before we do that, let's, how do I get out of here? I don't want to continue tutorial. I would like to go out of my imp quest, stream surfing. Can I search for a user? Let's see. Let's see. D space. Okay, let's take a look at this by Danny88 Games. Oh, this person has created a platformer. Nice. Oh, dude, that's cool. I like the character already. That's awesome. So yeah, we'll definitely have to take a look at this. All right, so let's is there a? I forget how to add it to my play later. There's a way to do it. I don't remember how. My scoreboard. Play. View. Oh, well, maybe we'll do it in the, let's see. Play later. There we go. Okay. Cool. And I created an imp quest for that. Awesome. Alright. I think that's where we'll stop. Alright. I'll catch you guys later.